welcome to Top Fives, the show of everything. Top Fives, presented by the Sex Effects. I'm Joey Parati.
And I'm Sean Day.
And folks, we have just a show full of whimsy and catharsis and just a whole lot of love. But before we get to all that, Jonathan, how are you, my friend?
Oh, a whole lot of love. Yes, doing okay, man. It's man, I don't know what week it is of this quarantine business.
Oh, you know what? I wrote it down the other day. On the 17th, it was day 62. So we're on day 64 of quarantine.
Wow, it's been that long already, man. And we're pretty much approaching the end of May, which is crazy too, dude.
Yeah, shit.
It's like, where's the summer going? But yeah, overall, dude, I'm doing pretty good, and just spend some time cleaning the house and the room, and just kind of getting through the week. Doing some like stuff for like unemployment, so just figuring all that stuff out and how the job situation is going to be in the next month or so. I'm not really sure how long that's going to be.
Who knows? It's wild, right?
Yeah. So that's pretty much it, man. Nothing too much from our last show, and I'm really excited because we're doing this video recording again for the podcast.
Yeah.
Trying to get our faces up there and trying to utilize the technology we have. So
I just want to see my name in lights. Because that's so much to ask. It's all I want.
It's funny because we've been doing this, Joey and I, before, we've been recording just the audio, but we have Google Hangouts usually that we see each other. So we're so used to seeing each other via video chat. It'd be just really cool to now do it, utilize it in the show. So.
And we're on Zoom, and the picture is nice. The Google Hangout one was always scrambly and kind of.
Yeah.
This is an upgrade. And it's nice to see you. You're so clear. You're so wonderful.
Thank you.
Just want to climb through my computer screen and give you a big wet kiss.
There we go.
Yeah. There he is.
Joey, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well, my friend. Hunting for jobs like crazy. They don't lie. Looking for work. It's a full-time job. So doing that, staying creative, starting my days off in the best way possible. I get up and I take Marty on about between 4 and 6 miles every day. My thing has been walking all the way to Golden Gate Park, going back down, and then walking along the Great Highway, and then come back up. So yeah, it starts my day off. I listen to music. It's my Zen time. It's my commute, really. So I've been enjoying that. It's been really pleasant, I have to say. So yeah, man, I don't know.
There you go.
There you go. But yeah, I enjoy what we're doing on the show, and we're trying this out. And I thought it was kind of fun last time. I don't know if it's good, but it's I enjoyed it. So yeah, things are good. Full steam ahead, motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we have any news this week? Is there anything?
Do we have any news this week?
I don't know, dude.
Pattinson isn't working out for his Batman role. Although he could have been kidding, I don't think he was. What's your take on this?
You know what? I don't know. Like the physique of superheroes, and I know that's been part of the whole, especially with the movies, the kind of movie culture. Having like a dude who can probably handle his stuff. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I think a lot of the, stuff that I've read, it's kind of pointing towards Pattinson not really like caring, for the character or how he's going to portray it, and maybe that, I don't know if it's coming off as that or if he's teasing or, and right now, I guess maybe with the state of kind of the film industry. Yeah. Right now,
who knows, right?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, maybe he's just kind of blowing off because he's like, I don't have any work right now. So, I'm not really sure to how to feel about it. But I don't know. I do. I thought like Christian Bale when he was playing Batman. He looked pretty fit and.
For Batman Begins, and then the Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. He technically was the same weight, but he was leaner. He didn't look in Batman Begins, he looks
Yeah.
big,
He looked big, man. And then, we had
yeah.
Ben Affleck playing Batman, and he was a little bit, was probably the bulkiest one out of I think all the Batman renditions. So
If you get Ben Affleck to play Batman, why do you put him in a muscle-bound suit? You just throw a T-shirt on that guy, and he looks like fucking Batman. But they had to add muscles upon muscles. He looked like a Rob Liefeld drawing. He looked fucking ridiculous. He looked like the Marshmallow Man. I don't know.
yeah, he was a little too bulky. So I mean, honestly, like I'm kind of I'm not saying like the physique is the most important part of the hero and the character and the look. I think people are obviously concerned maybe because of it's being fit to do like I'm sure he's not doing all his stunts, but fit to do some of the stunts. One to obviously look like like a superhero, and Batman, and we've seen different versions of Batman, and I guess going from this last one, Affleck, and I could see the concern there, but
Sure.
I'm not too like, this is like, it needs to be like this.
Yeah. There's some people like John Campea went off. He was like, it's disrespectful and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Yeah, I haven't seen
I'm the
that
biggest
video.
Batman fan that I know. And I didn't feel...
Well,
It's kind of like,
what I'm really looking for in this Batman is, and I think they've mentioned it with, showing Batman as a true, like a detective. And
yes, that's all I give a shit about.
Those are things I'm really looking forward towards. And, that's, if Robert Pattinson, says something that kind of disses that whole thing, it's like, I'd be concerned, because it's like, okay, you're not really trying to get into this character. Those aspects I care for in this next rendition of Batman. So I think that's where I kind of stand on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see, with people going to the movies these days and superhero films, there's this kind of like, I guess there is like this kind of, what do you call it? This pedestal or this kind of this bar of like, this is what superheroes are going to be. And
Like
you never
Chris
know,
Evans in Civil War or something, when he's holding on to the helicopter or something.
Exactly. Steve Rogers, like doing the whole thing. But what I'm looking for in this next series of Batman is those other aspects, as being a detective, and Batman using his intelligence, his wits, and all these other characteristics of the Batman character that I feel like we haven't really got in the other movies.
Yeah.
Right. So
I'm really hoping that he matches Malone at one point, because Robert Pattinson could absolutely play a homeless person. He's halfway there in just his day-to-day. Yeah, I mean, and it really wasn't until Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, 1986, that Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck drew upon, but didn't do. A lot of people are like, they were just doing Dark Knight Returns. No, they weren't. But that's when we first saw the big hulking muscle-bound Batman. Before that, I mean, if you look at, I guess he was kind of sort of that physique in the 50s, but it was, if you go back and look at those 50s drawings, like a Dick Sprang, yeah, he's big, but they're so cartoony looking that you don't really take it very seriously.
yeah.
The ones that you did take seriously prior to Dark Knight Returns was, the Neil Adams stuff. And to me, Robert Pattinson could very much fit into that Neil Adams mold of Batman, who's more athletic looking, more, just like a gymnast than a brawler, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm here for it. I'm sad that they're covering him in armor, because we've seen Batman in just armor so much. And I'm, don't do what Affleck did. Like, yeah, look, exposition goes a long way, right? When you're reading a Batman comic and it looks like he's just wearing a T-shirt, it's because he is. But they put little, the thought balloon or whatever is like, it's dipped in, a triple bi-weave of, Kevlar or whatever. And it's like, why can't you just say that and pay lip service to the audience, especially kids, are going to go along with that. I'll go along with that.
Yeah.
The armor has never made sense to me, because this dude has to move. And, it's not like you and I have worn a lot of bulky armor in our day. You know, we never even played football, but I mean, you know how that stuff can hinder your movement and slow you down.
Exactly.
And Batman needs to be agile and fast.
Agile.
And so I long for the day when we finally get that. That's not this. But I do hope, as you said, they concentrate on the detective aspects of the character. And please, God, no killing.
Yeah.
Just please.
None of that.
It's not hard. It's really not hard. Batman has one thing, and it's not the bat costume. It's he does not kill. He's better than that. I've gone off on that tangent before. I'm going to put a cork in it. I'm catching myself here because I get really passionate and really angry about that.
Please refer back to our episode on, I think we did a Batman versus Superman commentary.
That was one of the early ones.
Yeah.
We talked for about the length of the freaking movie. It was like a 3-hour podcast. Those are the early days. I want to say it's in like the first 15 episodes or something. So, and we're on episode 184 right now. So go digging, kids.
To that 200, man.
We are getting close to that 200, man. We got to do something fun. Maybe have a few guests on or something. Now that we can with this. Hey!
My cats are attacking me right now. Hey, dude.
They're attacking you. Maybe you should be better. Just kidding. I don't know. Just kidding.
This is his spot. He loves to chill here.
It's a good spot. That's usually where I chill when I come to visit.
But, so we got Batman. Man. Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
I can't think of anything. There's nothing going on. Ruby Rose, this just happened a couple hours ago. Ruby Rose has stepped down as Batwoman on the CW show. I've never watched Batwoman, so I have absolutely no opinion.
No way.
But she's not going to be returning for the second season.
I saw like an episode where she played the character, and I kind of fell off the CW games because of it's just a lot to catch.
It gets really convoluted and just...
Yeah. I think out of all those shows, The Flash is probably the one show that I might catch up on, when the episodes are available. But that's interesting that she stepped down, because I thought that was quite a obviously a big move, I think, for that series, and being able to introduce that character in there. So are they having someone like replace her, or
they will
continue?
Yeah, they've still got a second season to do.
Got it. Okay.
So
that's interesting. Yeah, I felt like that was like a big opportunity, I think, for obviously the Batwoman character to live on television. So it's interesting that she stepped down.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wild. It's wild.
It's wild, right, Kat?
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, would you like to get to some lists?
Let's get to some lists, my good man. Would you like to go first? Would you like I to go first?
I'll go first this week.
Okay.
So I feel like we've done this list before, but I feel like most of our lists these days, they kind of rotate, or they get updated, or...
Well, there's our all-time, and then there's our current.
Yeah.
Right?
All-time and then current stuff. So been binging a lot of shows on all sorts of different streaming platforms. So, Joey, what are your top 5 bingeable shows at the moment?
Well, it's a good question. I don't actually watch a ton of stuff. I don't have a good attention span anymore. Thank you, iPhone. But and especially during this pandemic, everyone's like, I've been watching this. I haven't watched nearly anything. But I am, trying to create, which I think is okay. Having said that, I'll go with number 5. This is a YouTube show, and I'm trying to find the gentleman's name because I want to give him proper credit. But it's Comic Tropes on YouTube that I've really enjoyed. And of course, on his Twitter, C Tropes, he doesn't have his name. I review the technical and history of a wide variety of comic book creators and characters. Illustrated an Eisner-nominated comic back in 2011. So he's also an illustrator. And he just does very smart, very well researched and passionate breakdowns of comic books and tropes and creators. And I've learned a lot watching his videos. If you like comic books, if you like the history of comic books, it's a very good channel. I really enjoy it. So Comic Tropes on YouTube, number 5.
Hey.
Number 4, I throw it on. We're going to talk about this later today, but Californication.
Yay.
It's just, that first season,
It's classic right there.
it's a mood, man. That's a mood you can kind of sink into and just be like, yeah, when you're feeling down about everything, yeah. Californication, baby. Like when you're giving yourself permission to just be a piece of garbage. That's Californication, baby. Sorry. Number 3, I'm going to go Gigolos.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about this one.
We have talked about this. The Showtime After Dark series, which is junk food on crack, junk food TV on crack. It follows the lives of 5 interchangeable gigolos on their daily exploits in Las Vegas, and it is graphic and it is hilarious. These guys are exactly what you would expect and hope them to be, and it's wild. It's really wild. There's Brace, who's like the old one, who's like every season. There's 6 seasons of this show, and every season his arc is, I'm getting a little old for this, man, and there's Nick Hawk, who's just, as a gigolo, I got to be prepared for every situation. There's Steven, who's like, I'm just a regular guy looking for love like everybody else. Just all of them have their own personality, and it shines through. Vin's like the normal nice guy that like I'd actually want to hang out with, and so it's they're all different things. Jimmy's a sociopath. So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy Gigolos. I could throw it on, and all of a sudden I've watched 4 or 5 episodes. And it's like because it rots your brain. It really does rot your brain, but it's fun. It's stupid and it's fun. Yeah, I've put it on for you. Number 2, I'm going to go with Party Down. Party Down is the other side of the coin for me, of the other side of the coin that is Californication, right? So you've got Hank Moody and you've got Henry Pollard, right? And Henry is down in his luck, but he's not completely void of hope. And I think he's one of the most hopeful characters. And on a good day, I'm Henry. On a bad day, I'm Hank. You know what I mean? And I just love... it's Adam Scott and Ken Marino and Jane Lynch and Megan Mullally and Lizzie Kaplan and Martin Starr. There's so many talented people on this program. And it's only 2 seasons long. It's 20 episodes total. They're like less than a half hour each. It's on Stars. Check it out if you can. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful TV show. And I've been throwing that on. It's one of those ones where if you watch it from start to finish, there's a wonderful overarching story.
Yeah.
But you can totally just throw on an episode, jump right in, jump right out, if you want. So, and number 1, what I've been watching the past couple days, my brother has been telling me to get onto this show for years. I had him and our good buddy Andrew Hopkins, who was most recently on our Tiger King episode, so go check that out. They were both over for dinner a couple weeks ago, and they were like, you have to watch The Sopranos. They even started a group chat to, and they'll send me stuff like, are you watching it yet? Like, watch this, mashup of this guy saying, hoa, So I finally, I before I moved back to the city, I got about 6 episodes in. And then I moved back and just, life, and I didn't pick up. So I picked up from where I left off. I knew if I started at episode 1, I'd never get back into it. So now I'm on episode 9 or 10. And just the last 2 or 3 days, I've really been kind of crushing episodes and really enjoy it. There's a really good Goodfellas reference that I won't spoil in the first season, even though it's nearly 30 years old now. But it's excellent. It's I've been enjoying it, and it's hard. It's really hard to watch a 1-hour drama and all this stuff. And actually, my internet keeps cutting out in my room. So last night, I was going to throw it on, and I probably would have gone on my phone or fallen asleep. But the internet to the Apple TV was not working. Oh, no. But I could play it on my phone.
Hey.
So I watched it on my phone, and I obviously couldn't get distracted because I couldn't be flipping around and doing. So it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Hey. You know what's really funny? My dad's been trying to get me to watch it, and he's
You
actually
were telling me that.
he's actually suggested for the show that could be a weekly segment. So I don't know. I know we've been
I'd be down
thinking
to
we've been thinking about a couple of different weekly segments. So I think
I'd be down to get it back into it and go through it with you. It's very good. It's very good.
Okay. I it's been another one on my list that a show to check out, like a highly talked about show, and like especially for HBO, right? HBO's,
HBO, and it changed everything.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
groundbreaking. And you can tell there's parts of it that feel very 90s. And you can kind of go, okay, because, I mean, we were cognizant of TV back then. We were, 7 when that came out? It's like 96, And you can see things that from other shows of that era and that feeling and that kind of thing, but the way they push it. Because we knew, it's like when someone watches something today, that's not hardcore, but they don't know the history of it. You and me, we know what TV was like back then. And I think watching it through the first time, you can appreciate how they're pushing the edge and how it might be tame by today's standards, but it was not tame back then.
Back then, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, Sopranos. Okay.
Sopranos. Jonathan, what are the top 5 shows you've been binging this quarantine season?
Oh man. So okay. I watched this one. Was it yesterday? Was it yesterday? So I've been watching Sons of Anarchy. My roommate
have you now?
suggested it, and I've been binging it, but I haven't been binging it like excessively. Let's just say, because I kind of like you, man. It's tough to like really sit down and just watch a show all the way through these days. I like to give it some variety, switch it up every now and then, but it's really cool. And I know there's a lot of fans of the show, and I think it's very interesting, kind of showing the lifestyle of like a motorcycle gang and just all these different kind of gangs coming together. And I'm coming off like The Wire, watching The Wire, and it's about like drug smuggling and gangs and different territorial
Did you watch all of The
things.
Wire?
I am.
Did you
close,
finish it,
dude? I'm literally on the last season, and for the same reason. It's just like trying to finish a show. It's just like it's so hard, especially when it's like 5-6 seasons. And the same can be said for Sons of Anarchy. I've been trying to get through it, but it's tough getting through a whole show like that. But I've enjoyed it, and I really like it. And my roommate's been bugging me to watch it, and I just put it on, and I've been watching with my roommate every now and then, and whenever I have a chance. Just watch it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And there's there's a couple spin-off shows I think that are from it. So it's like it's really cool to kind of see where where it started and kind of came from. And so Sons of Anarchy.
Right on. Hell yes.
I'm gonna go number 4, Breaking Bad, which I did power through it again for this is my second watch through. And
what did you like it better the second time around?
I really liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for it's honestly like there's no like lull moment in the show. Like every episode, every season, there's just something crazy happening. And of course revolving around Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, like the two kind of main characters. And it's just wild. I mean, and then of course seeing the transformation of Walter White throughout the show. And when you watch it again, you kind of like, oh wow, like at first I was like, yeah, I'm rooting for Walter White. He's just trying to just do something different with his life, and take these kind of risks and make these certain choices. But man, at the end of it again, I'm like, dude, he's kind of like a villain. Like it's crazy when you kind of watch it again. You're like, wow, like these are certain things that like, man, this really changes my perspective on the character. And it's like pushes to 100 every episode. It's just like another crazy thing that happens. So I think that's why I was engaged and watched it all the way through for the 3-4. I think it's like 5 seasons. It was it had so.
Now with a show like that, usually people talk about like, all right, wait until season 2, and then it really gets going. Like, would you say there's a point in Breaking Bad when that happens? Like, is there like, do I have to watch it to a certain point and then I'll be hooked? Like, where is that threshold for you?
I don't know. I mean, like even just the first season, just like the ending of the first season just is crazy. Like it gets nuts. But It's about, obviously a meth dealer.
Sure.
Like, obviously you could
Spoilers. Just
spoiler
kidding.
alert, yeah. So there's the progression of, he starts making meth, and the power and the kind of ladder that he goes up. So maybe around the second, third season, maybe about second season is where it gets kind of,
Okay.
gets the stakes
Gets
get
really
higher.
crazy.
Yeah, the stakes get higher.
Gotcha.
So
Rising action, as they say in awful screenwriting books.
there we go.
I never
There we
understood
go.
that. Rising action, what the fuck does that
Yeah,
mean? You know?
I
hate
I've heard
that.
of that, but that's cool as a
hate
term
that.
for it. So yeah, Breaking Bad for that was 4, right? 4.
That was 4.
3, I've got Party Down. You actually mentioned Party Down as
Word.
well. It's 2 seasons, so it's just a great show to get to watch and go through, and you don't feel kind of like this. That's what's tough about some of these bigger shows. Is like, oh man, it's a lot of stuff to watch just to kind of get the.
It's like looking at a
overarching story.
thick book and knowing you're going to have to go through every page, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah, I enjoy it sometimes, but like, yeah, I love shows
Sure,
where
yeah.
it's just like you just put it on, and every episode's really fun, and for all the reasons you said, it's just there's a lot of cool moments and a lot of great funny moments in the show, and I think it's even the premise of the show of like this kind of this catering company with with a bunch of people who are actors and like the kind of like dead end job kind of deal, and I always feel like some relatability to with that, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Party Down for 3.
wonderful. I like it.
Let's see. 2, I'm actually watching this currently. Community. I'm rewatching Community
Nice.
from the ground up, and I actually have not finished the whole show in its entirety.
Oh, you're in for a
especially-
treat.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited to kind of go through it and watch. Just watch it all the way through. I got up to so far I think this end of the 2nd season, so I'm starting the 3rd. And,
My favorite episode is with Jack Black. You've seen that one? That's in the first season. Spanish
like-
studying is better when you're buddying around.
It's
He's
funny 'cause,
so
like,
good in it.
half the episode or part of the episode is just him being Jack Black and just doing his
Yeah.
little Jack Black things. But yeah, there's a lot of great moments in there, and it's kind of funny because the group is so like that's what I loved about the show is like the group is everyone in the group is so different, and it's kind of like this dysfunctional family, and they always find ways to kind of circle back and obviously they all are good friends during the when they go through the show. So there's a lot of great moments. I just finished the 2nd season, so it ended with like the paintball war, like
Word.
2-episode paintball war thing that went on. So there's a lot
Those were
of
so
great-
good.
Yeah, a lot of great episodes. The cast is obviously really fun. Everyone's super kind of they're doing their own thing. And
Was that the
Dean-
Western paintball war?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, man,
They have
that's
that
so good.
Random dude like.
Yeah.
Or the I guess the other city college school like sabotages it or something. So
Yeah. It's so good. It's so
yeah,
good.
so there's a lot of good moments. So I am actually really excited to binge this one all the way through and see even just the seasons without Dan Harmon, writing for it. So yeah,
Season 4.
I'm gonna end up trying to go through it, but
Go
yeah.
through it. Yeah, it's
why
it's not the worst thing that was ever,
And it's
Dan
fun.
Harmon
So
probably thinks so, but it's not. It's not the worst thing ever.
it makes me miss my friends. I don't know,
Yeah, exactly. You just want to spend time with your people. I feel you.
So Community for 2, and then number 1, I think kind of at the beginning of this quarantine, I did start Daredevil again, and
Oh,
it is still one of my, especially for Netflix, and it was one of the flagship shows for a long time, and
it's so good.
it was kind of like I would say the example of a bingeable show. Like I literally sat there and just went through the whole show without most of these shows I've listed, I've binged them in the past before and like recently, but like Daredevil was like the one I sat there like trying to get through every episode because it was so freaking good, man. So,
It's good. And there's that first season is like fairly lean, like maybe a little padding. Like season 2's got a lot of padding. where you're just like, where you're killing time, just get to the main story already.
Yeah.
But that's first season.
Yeah,
That's good.
especially for like Marvel, doing their kind of this series and television series. And I think out of all the those Netflix Marvel shows, I thought Daredevil was the strongest one. And I really like Charlie Cox as the Daredevil.
He's really
man.
great. He's
And
really
Matt
great. Yeah.
So
He does not look like a hero type, but he plays the character just so well. And, what's his name got a lot of flack for his Foggy Nelson. I liked him.
I really liked him too. Yeah.
And I absolutely adored Deborah Ann Wall as Karen Page.
Yeah.
I wish she was just tweeting out that she can't get any work following Daredevil. Like, are you kidding me? Hire this woman.
Serious?
She is buckets upon buckets of charisma. I loved her in this.
Yeah, the cast is
and
great,
Vincent
man.
D'Onofrio is Kingpin. Forget about it. He's so good. He is so good.
Yeah, brother.
He's ruthless and brutal, but also childlike, and you're just like, it's so good. He created, when I think of Kingpin, he's now what I think of, and that's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's no longer Michael Clark Duncan.
I feel like we had an episode where we talked about, I think, like villains, or I think TV show villains or something.
Marvel villains.
Marvel villains,
Yeah.
and I believe one of them was on your list, or, I mean,
Oh, big time, yeah.
yeah, he definitely added so much to that show, and I think that's why it's so captivating, and I like binging it. It's just like, wow, I want to see what this guy does next,
Honestly,
So yeah, Daredevil for number 1. There we go.
I love it.
Hey.
Great list, Shawnee. Great list. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And hey, all you dear, lovely, sweet, imaginary audience, let us know what top 5 TV shows you are binging this quarantine season. Why don't you? I mean, you don't have to. You really don't have to do that. Shawnee, I've got a list for you.
All right. Give it to me.
All right. So I saw something like this, floating around on Twitter. So I thought, hey, we could steal that. What would you say are the top 5 fictional characters that best represent you? Okay. Does that make sense? Am I saying it right? Who do you kind of, when you look at a fictional character, you're like, I see that person in me, or I relate to that in some way, shape, or form. The floor is yours.
Okay, so yeah, I had to think about this one for a little bit, and there's a few characters that I guess the audience may be familiar with, and there's actually my number 5 actually is a new character that I watched in this show called Dave, and it's this guy. His name's Els, played by Travis Taco Bennett, ELZ.
What show?
Dave. So Dave is about Little Dicky's, his show.
Yeah. I thought that's where you're going with it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Els is his like homie producer friend, and it's
nice.
Funny because I produce music, and there's a lot of situational scenes in the show where I've kind of been in where it's like you're an intern and you're a dude who's just trying to make some music and try to get creative and relate to the artists and whatnot. And I don't know, he's like, it's almost like, oh wow, this is like totally what I did. Like it's something, it's a character that I can relate to as far as like
that's cool.
Music and producing and stuff. So. And there's not that many. I feel like there's not many shows or movies that have those types of characters in there. Because this is a show about music and becoming a Lil Dicky becoming this great rapper. So yeah, I just thought it was a kind of a new one, but I really liked the gentleman who played him. I think he's in like Loiter Squad and some of the other like Tyler Creators camp of peoples.
Oh, word. Okay.
So yeah, I just related on the kind of musical side with him and kind of the struggles of a musician too. So
hell yeah, I like it.
Yeah, number 5, Els from Dave.
Wonderful.
Number now you're gonna laugh at this one. Number 4, I got Mr. Sherlock Holmes on here, brother.
Oh, I could see that. I see that in you, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I like, what? I maybe I could somewhat relate it to music too as well, but I like solving problems, and I like there's a lot of stuff that I do with music and technology, but also in my daily life that I feel like I always like to try to break things down and kind of solve them that way. And I might not be as witty as Sherlock Holmes, but I think
I think you're plenty witty, buddy.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, yeah. So I think those are just those specific kind of characteristics and qualities that I pull from Sherlock Holmes, and I like problem solving and that kind of stuff. So yeah, Sherlock Holmes for 4.
I love it.
I'm gonna drop my second community. What do you call it? Community reference tonight. I'm going to go with Abed from Community.
Word. I thought you were going to go with Joel McHale.
I mean, Abed, it kind of reminds me when I was like in high school a little bit too. Like I was kind of that awkward, weird kid, but it was like you and me, we'd always used to love quoting movies and stuff, and I feel like I still do that these days. I pop culture and those kind of things are still, that stuff matters, man. Always.
It's important. It's the truth.
That's the truth. And just like getting in the mindset of Abed, and I don't think life is all that. I know he has his moments where he goes a little too far with making reality and life like a movie. I feel like, but it's also maybe I can relate it to, sometimes I find myself in situations where, oh gosh, what would this person do? Or,
sure.
in a movie, like I've seen this in a movie, and, just kind of trying to come up, analyze things through that kind of lens or whatever. And, Abed's like a really cool dude. And he's chock full of a bunch of references, and I feel like that's who I am sometimes. So
I feel like you guys have similar style of dress as well, which you pull it off nicely. I wish I could wear clothes like you wear clothes.
So appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, Abed for number 3. This one's gonna be kind of funny. Before the show, I took a fictional character quiz.
Of course you did.
Just to see, because I was like, oh, there's a couple I came up with, I can think of in the back of my head, and then there's some
pretty damn good, lad.
So I got one. It was Skeeter Valentine from freaking Doug Funny, dude.
Yes. Oh my god, I love it.
For all the reasons said, because I took the quiz and it said, obviously I'm a. I try to be a good friend and very hospitable and welcoming, and Skeeter Valentine was Doug Funny's homie, dude. I try to be that best person for myself and also for my friends, and I think I try to I don't know, just feel like I'm trying. I'm a friendly person, and I like relationships, and I like I like to hang out with my friends. So, and of course for Joey, I feel like sometimes I'm a Skeeter Valentine. So.
Well, it's not, yes, I think this is spot on. I think this is great, especially because growing up, people called me Big Nose, Doug Funny, because he had a big nose, and so this works out perfectly. This is one I feel like the most Doug Funny I've been in a long time with Marty and my big nose and writing in my journal. It's who's Roger Klotz? That's what I want to know. If you're Skeeter and I'm Doug, who's Roger?
Who's Roger? Oh, Roger. Ooh.
Roger Klotz. Who's Patty Mayonnaise?
Man, makes me think
who's
of
BB?
This. I don't know why I'm thinking of when we were in school and stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, that fits. That fits. In that case, I've got quite a few that I could pin on, but not going to go there. I like that. Yeah, all right, you still got one more.
I got one more. Let's see. I don't know. I've always loved this character, and I could see a little, some glimpses of me in there. Marty McFly, dude. I love Back to the Future, and Marty McFly is probably one of my favorite characters, out there. And he plays guitar. He's he has, I don't know. He's kind of interested in science fiction and all that kind of stuff, and that it's kind of cool because he's like that. In the movie, he's almost like feels like the cool dude, but also he's like interested in all sorts of weird stuff, and
sure.
I thought that was the really interesting part about Back to the Future is, how did Marty McFly end up with Doc Brown, and how did they end up becoming friends that way, because it almost seems like even just at the start of the movie, they might, they just come from different places, and Marty McFly is just a kid in high school. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I just find that I don't know. He's just this. Maybe it's the musician in me, and maybe that might be it. And maybe the wonder and just kind of the being able to just go with the whole time travel thing. And I love time travel movies and shows and whatnot. Excuse me.
Bless you.
So maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's where I'm coming from with it, but he is one of my favorite characters out there too. So I always feel like I try to relate to him as much as I can. So there you go.
I love it. Wonderful.
So, Marty McFly.
Wonderful list, my friend.
Joey, I'm kind of curious to hear your list, because there's a lot we could pull from here. So
there is.
What are your top
Therapist,
fives?
Sean. Well, first of all, I was drinking Coors Light last episode. I don't want people to think that I'm a goddamn peasant, so...
From the
what
bottle.
are you drinking? What are you drinking?
This is like some Bushmills or something.
Bushmills. Oh, you're taking a page from your grandfather's book. I like it.
Yeah, it's I've had it.
Cheers, my friend.
Oh, cheers, brother. Oh yeah, we can do this virtually now. Woo.
Quarantine.
Yeah, I had it since my birthday, and I haven't really finished. I haven't really cracked the bottle much, so I'm just having a little glass. Why not?
Wonderful. Good things. Good things.
I see the Jameson over there. That's good. Jameson's.
Oh yes. Yeah. It's like there must always be a Stark at Winterfell. There must always be a bottle of Jameson in my household. That's just the way it goes. All right, number 5. I have a tie. I can't decide. So are you going to permit me? Yeah,
okay.
Are you going to permit me to a
No,
twofer?
you're permitted. Let's hear it out.
Thank you. One, I'm going to go Sonny Corleone. I'm Italian, and I watched The Godfather, and like all good Italians, we watched The Godfather, and you think, okay, who am I in that family? And I wish I could say that I was Michael, cold and calculating, and doesn't lose his temper. He can think things through, and he can plan, and he can organize, and he can play the long game. That ain't me. That's my brother. My brother is Michael Corleone. I'm Sonny. I am the impulsive, I get angry, and I'm going to take a baseball bat to Carlo Rizzi for beating my sister, and then I'm going to, die on the causeway. That is what will happen to me. I will, lose my shit, and things will go bad. I've been getting better at it, but if I were, when I think about that, on a bad day, I'm Fredo. I hope I'm never Fredo. But really, if I'm honest with myself, I'm Sonny, and I wish I was more like Michael. There you go. But I was just thinking about it, and I was like, but I've also gotten a lot from people as Larry David. And I know he's a real character, so I'm going to say, obviously the Curb Your Enthusiasm version of Larry David. I'm very aware. I'm painfully self-aware, especially in social situations, if I don't think people are following, social practices or manners, or it bugs me. And you've been with me. I'm not too afraid to be like, what's that all about? So, I sometimes in social situations, I need a sign on me that says does not play well with others, keep 5 feet distance or something like that. But there's one episode of Curb where he's like, no, I never put my drink down at a party. I like to hold it. It makes me feel comfortable. I don't have to shake hands. I was like, this is me. Another episode, he's like, somebody goes, hey, Happy New Year. And he goes, it's a little late. It's the 3rd week of January. I'm like, yes. Yeah. Why are you still saying Happy New Year? It's, January 16th. So I relate to that a lot, for better and worse. Number 4, I'm going to go Holly Martins from The Third Man.
Okay.
Joseph Cotton played this character. I really adore and love Holly Martins. I adore The Third Man. This movie came out in 1949. It's 70 years old, so I'm not going to even give you a spoiler warning. But basically, he goes to Vienna because his best friend Harry has promised him a job, and he's a writer, but he's broke. He's not producing, and so his friend offered him this job in war-torn Vienna. It's 1949, so it's right after World War II and everything. And he gets there and he finds out that his friend has died. And this cop, he goes to the funeral, and this cop kind of buys him a drink, and he's like, he tells him the truth. He was like, your friend was the worst racketeer that the underworld has ever known in these parts. And he sets off to clear his friend's name because he's a good, loyal friend. He's like, no, I'm going to show the cops that he wasn't the bad guy that, And this is where we get into spoiler territory. But I believe you and me have both seen, I think I've shown you this movie. It turns out Harry's alive. And he is all those bad things. And he has to make the difficult choice. In the end, they chase him into the sewer, and Harry shoots down one of the cops. It's actually the only fan of Holly Martin's. He's like, I've read all your books. I love them. You can pick them up and put them down anytime. That's why I like them. And Holly Martin's takes his gun and walks up to Harry, and they share a look. And he does the mercy kill, and it's just like heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. It's a story, I think, of true friendship. In a macabre, melodramatic, old Hollywood sort of way. But I really love that movie, and about having to do the hard thing when you do care about someone. That it's not what you want to do, but it's what you need to do. And it sucks, but it's Holly Martin's baby. Holly, what's a silly name? Number 3, I'm going to go, as I talked about earlier, Henry Pollard from Party Down. Henry is a dude who had some early success and then is just down on his luck and has given up. And I don't think I've had any success, but I've definitely been in the place where I've given up. And his character has always given me hope. Because he's cynical, but he's not so far gone,
Yeah.
So I've always really appreciated and love Adam Scott in that role, and I've always related to it in a way. Number 2, I've also related to Hank Moody. This is the bad side of the coin, right? When you're just going to indulge and just be like, fuck it. Things are bad, and I'm going to roll around in the shit, Or sometimes you're not trying to roll around in the shit, but you step in it. And, they do a very good job on Californication of, everyone gets mad at Hank for these things, but it technically wasn't his fault, or he technically didn't do that, or, he's always like wrongfully accused in some sort of way, kind of, not really. But I definitely have had my Hank Moody days where it's just like, shit, yeah. And David Duchovny just, plays him with this, it's just a mood. And if I can tune into that mood, I can handle just about anything, it's like, right? You're prepared for like, all right, yeah, give me the worst news ever. But I'm already so far gone that it's okay. All
right.
Whatever. Fuck it. It's terrible that he's number 2. Number 1, Rob Gordon, High Fidelity.
Dude. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now this obviously is probably problematic in 2020. But I don't care. I've always loved this movie. I've always loved this character. And yes, watching it removed as an adult, I can see that this character is not anything to aspire towards. He's an asshole. He's trying, but not very hard. And he's really just kind of feeling sorry for himself. And I've been all those things. And by the end, it's such a small gesture, but it does show his growth of when he's like, I've started to make a tape for Laura full of things that she would like, full of things that would make her happy. Because up until that point, he was trying to kind of dictate, all right, no, you can't like both Marvin Gaye and, God, who's the other one that he said? He's like, that's like, supporting both the Israelis and the Palestinians. She's like, no, they make pop records, like it's nothing like that actually. And, but things like that. And so he does have a full arc, and, he may not become a good person, but he becomes a better person. And that's really all we can hope for. And, I saw that movie in 7th grade, like way before I should have seen it. And every year I watch it at least one time, and I pick up on new things, and it holds a deeper meaning to me, or I see it differently or in a new light. And it's so not, and he's so not what I thought of in seventh grade. And then I realized how much I've been influenced personally by that movie and how many mistakes I've made because I was like, oh, well, that dude did it, you know? But it's still a big part of me. And I just have such a great love for that character. And, I don't know, relationships and, heartbreak and all that kind of stuff. It's something that's always, I call it my life's work. It's always been on my mind. It's, you know, it's always kind of been there, and it's something I think a lot about. And I'm not saying this was the start of it because I grew up on romantic comedies, but this was the first time where I saw a quote unquote romantic comedy that was also sad and fucked up and felt real. You know, it wasn't Adam Sandler singing on an airplane at the end of the movie where the guy and the girl kiss. It was like, these are adults having issues. And I as a young kid, I picked up on that and was like, shit, you know, this is life. This is what we have to look forward to.
Heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy, but that's me, man. That's, I don't know. Rob Gordon.
Rob Gordon. Nice. I like that, dude. I you know, we obviously been friends for a long time, so I could totally see all those characters, you know, fit in, you know, different parts of who you are, or at least how you identify with them.
Well, then I'm going to give you the floor, and who would you choose? Would you choose Sonny or Larry David?
Oh, man. Maybe Sonny? Yeah.
Yeah? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair. It's cool that you want me to die on a fucking causeway, asshole.
No, not that.
Jonathan, do you have anything you'd like to share with our dear, sweet, lovely imaginary audience this week, my friend?
I'm just going to give a shout out. I got hit up by an old friend from high school, Sherman.
Sherman Bow.
He has a podcast. I just want to shout these guys out.
Yes.
They're Hey Yeah, Don't Say That podcast. And you can find them at hydstpod.com, heyyapodcast.com. And I just got his podcast, so I'm going to start listening to his episodes, and we kind of return the favor, and you know he's going to check out top fives. And I'm actually going to be working on the podcast music for them, just their little
wonderful
intro segment. So I figured it was super cool just to have that interaction this last few days, and it just shows again just trying to help others out in the podcast community, and just old friends too as well. So. And we cool. Actually, I think we saw Sherman at one of our shows the last time
he came to our show.
He came to one of our shows. Yeah.
Was not the knockout? Was that the knockout?
I think it was the knockout show. Yeah. Sherman, if you're listening to this, thank you so much for coming to the show and checking out the podcast. And I can't wait to listen to your show, man. So.
Mucho appreciado. I'm excited. I'm excited to give it a listen. I've already retweeted their first episode, so you can check it out on our Twitter if you're scrolling through. It's Tuesday, May 19th, so that's where you can find that. I'll do it again. We'll give them proper shout out, but yeah, check it out.
So that's my share for this week. Joey, what do you got to share this week?
So I've been reading. I've actually been reading. And Brandon over at the Three Friends podcast, when I went and guested, they were gracious enough to host me at their studio, the Three Friends studio. Brandon lent me this book. It's called Hit and Run. How John Peters and Peter Guber took Sony for a ride in Hollywood. And if you know me, my favorite book of all time is Easy Riders, Raging Bulls, how the sex, drug, and rock and roll era saved Hollywood. I lent that to him. He lent me this one. And I'm getting very near the end. It's fascinating. John Peters is just a character. But do you remember that story that Kevin Smith told about working on the Superman movie, and that the crazy producer was like, I want a giant spider and blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
That's John Peters.
Okay.
So him and Peter Guber became the studio heads when Sony bought Columbia and TriStar. Gotcha. And it's fascinating. Using the company jet to deliver flowers to a supermodel, and like just out there stuff. So I'm really enjoying it, and if you're into that kind of film history and the digging underneath the fingernails of that kind of stuff, I highly recommend it, and it's a good read. It's a fun read.
Sweet. Nice.
Yeah.
Some reading. Oh, I like that.
Some literature.
Literature.
Yes. Master Wayne. Jonathan, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week, my friend?
You guys can find me Instagram, Twitter at Sean Day Music, and on my website, seandaymusic.net.
Net.
.net.
.net.
Still on the .net, guys.
.net,
Joey,
guys.
Where can we find you on the internet?
You can check me out on Twitter at Joey Parati and on my website, joeyparatyscripts.com. You can check out the show at Top 5 Pod. That's TOPFIVE 5 POD on Instagram, on Twitter at gmail.com, and on Facebook at Top 5 Podcast. We're on Apple Music, Google Play, and SoundCloud, so please give us a like, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us your love, and we will give you...
I can never think of one every week. So much more, so much more fictional love.
Fictional love? Because this is what they need during the pandemic is fictional love.
I'm just kidding, y'all. No, we're just going to give you so much more, How about this? We're going to give you some sex effects love back. How about that?
That is the best kind of love. Sex effects love, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, I'm Joey Parati.
And I'm Sean Day.
Thanks for I felt better about this time. I don't know about you. Yeah.
There we go.
Here we go.
The recorded file will be converted to MP4 when the meeting is over. There we go. Oh, shit. I got to pause this one now.